Alright, I want you all to imagine right now the person next to you is going to vomit all over you. You wouldn't really like that, right? Well, on June 6, 1944, D-Day, one of the biggest seaborne invasions in all of world's history, brave men were on U-boats, which are basically pontoon boats going to the beaches of Normandy in France. And as they were heading toward the beach, they were vomiting each other, they were praying to God, and they were doing things that people could not imagine or even go through today. And as those doors dropped down on those beaches, they were getting gunned down by German troops, and they were getting shot left and right. Their guts were coming out. People were jumping in water and drowning. It wasn't a really good day. Eventually, they pushed the beaches back, and eventually, of course, they won the war. But if you were lucky enough to survive, you would come home with some sort of mental illness. Well, first, what is a veteran? A veteran is someone that served in the military, air, or naval science and was discharged in other conditions other than dishonorably. So, according to the United States Department of Veteran Affairs, that is the definition, if you were interested. There are about 16.2 million veterans in our country. And out of those 16.2, about 1.5 are at risk of being homeless. And out of those 1.5, about 107,000 are homeless any given night. Those are some scary numbers. That veterans are serving our country and then coming back and not having a home. But you'd be surprised, out of those 107,000, actually a small amount, maybe even more, actually prefer to be outside of a traditional home. And you might also ask yourself, well, will the VA take care of them? The answer is yes, but like I said, some of them actually prefer not to be in a home and to be on the streets and live a different life. Well, first, what is PTSD? Post-traumatic stress disorder. Some of you in this room right now might have some sort of PTSD. It might not be a big, it might be a small, but very common in veterans and people that serve our nation. And now, PTSD comes in visible and invisible ways, such as drug abuse, alcohol abuse, suicide, and of course, PTSD, and how when they come home after serving, they may not have a stable house, a stable home to live. Remember, when you enlist in the military, they don't get very good pay. It's a very big debate and topic in our country that U.S. troops, men and women, should be getting paid more. And of course, they don't, as of right now. And when they come home, they might have left for a reason, and they come back home, they don't have a house to stay in. So remember that. If you guys right here, if you served the military and you three didn't, you have a greater chance of being homeless than they ever will in your whole life. Ex-servicemen have a greater chance of being homeless than the general population. Just for you guys to know, about 1.5 million veterans are in California. That's the state with the greatest number of veterans. And 42% out of the 16.2 million veterans are 75 and older. Now you may say, well, why is that? Why is it, that high of a number? The Vietnam War was one of the times we had a draft in this country, where men were told they had to go fight. Now imagine this: you don't want to fight. You never want to touch a gun in your life. You never want to kill someone. You never want to go overseas and fight in a war or even had anything to do with the military. And one day you got a letter in the mail or someone knocked on your door saying, you have to go to boot camp, you have to go fight in a war, and you might have to sacrifice your life for your country. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want to subject yourself to that. Now, also, while you're over there and you got told to do that, you have barely any rest. You're sleeping in a tent in the woods. You barely have food or water, and you're out there for months to probably years at a time, doing things that God knows what. And these people will come home with problems such as PTSD and other sorts of things. Veterans know better than anyone else for the price of freedom, for the scars of war. We can offer them no better tribute to protect what they have won for us. Said no other than President Ronald Reagan, 1983, Veterans Day. This is what one of our presidents and many more alike think what our veterans have done for us and what they still do today. Well, I had an interview with Constance Stiegel. She's a therapist. She deals with all sorts of issues, such from single issues, family issues, whatever. We're going to focus on veterans. And we're going to specify it down to one veteran. This one veteran dedicated 23 years of his life in the United States Army. He suffers with survivor's guilt, trust issues, and PTSD. And one night, while he was out with his 23 years, June 25th, 1996, a bomb exploded, killing about 19 of his men and many, many wounded. Now you may say, well, how was he affected? Well, he told his commander that they were in a position they were not in a great position. They were in this valley that these enemy troops were easily able to attack them. And a couple weeks later, the bomb exploded, killing his brothers and many wounded. Now, he suffers with trust issues, survivor's guilt, saying he could have done more to protect his friends and his brothers that died. That is just one example out of his 23 years of serving. This man, after serving and dedicating 23 years of his life in the United States Army, came home and now lives a tent in the woods, a car to get himself around, a P.O. box to get mail, a phone to stay connected with the outside world, his camping supplies since he lives in the woods, and a bin to store his food, clothes, and any sorts of other needs. He grows stuff out of the back of his trunk, like food, like plants, vegetables, fruits. He showers and bathes in nearby lakes or rivers. Now you may say, Anthony, that's a horrible life. Why would anyone want to do that? Is he suffering? He prefers this. As he told Constance, he feels back at home. He prefers the solitude. He prefers to live in the woods like he did in 23 years when he served for this country and dedicated his life. He will now live like this till he dies on this earth. And he wants to be like this as he adapted to a new way of life when he served 23 years in the United States Army and can't adjust to a traditional home. Now you may also say, how does he afford this? Because like I said before, enlistment, when you enlist in the military, they don't get paid very well. They don't have a very good means of, affordability. Well, the VA comes in play with this. He relies on them for income support, trauma support, which he gets with Constance Stiegel, but he declined the housing support. He does not want to live in a house. He prefers this, like I said before, he feels back at home, and he would never step foot back in a traditional home ever again after being changed and adapted to a new way of life as the United States Army. Now, as I said before, Constance is a therapist. She deals with lots of people. She also deals with about a dozen veterans. And all those dozen veterans she deals with all prefer to have PTSD, and about 5 out of 12 prefer to live the same way of this life as this one veteran does. Now you may say, like I said before, 107,000 people are homeless any given night. Now, 5 out of 12 people that go to Constance feel the same way. There has to be a number out there that also feel the same way. So next time someone says about veterans being homeless, whatever, they also have the right to choose this way of life and also do the things as this one Army veteran did. And because of their deployment history and what they endured while they were out there. And remember, when I said 107,000, some prefer to be homeless, not all of them do. What are some ways we can do to thank our veterans? We can donate to charities. Very self-explanatory. Give our money. Like I said before, 107,000 are homeless every night. 1.5 million are at risk. Not all of them want to be homeless. Not all of them want to live on the streets. Remember that. So donating money to whatever cause there is out there, or local church groups, or whatever it is, it can go a long way. Letters. Write letters. A thank you goes a very long way. By thanking them for what they have done and giving up. Remember, some of them lose limbs. Some of them come back without their friends, their cousins, their family members, and they lose a lot, including their mental health. So a letter goes a long way by saying thank you. Visit them. There are 2 VFWs here, one in Brewster, one in Putnam Lake. I know for Putnam Lake, they have a breakfast the first of every Sunday of every month. It's about $5, $10. You go there, you pay, you sit down. There's about 40 or so veterans, and you can talk to them, have breakfast with them, enjoy that morning with them. And most of the time, these veterans just want to talk to someone. Some of them don't, but most of them would just want to talk about what they have done and what they endured while being deployed. Be nice. This goes a long way. When you see someone wearing a hat that they served or they've done something, to give up something for us, being nice to them is all that matters. The biggest one, fly a flag. When people sit and kneel for the pledge or the national anthem, you're not disrespecting anyone else but the brave men and women that have died for our country, that have given up a lot. So remember that next time that pledge or national anthem comes on, you stand up and respect them. Thank you for your time.